Hello and welcome to the Marina Show. I'm your host, Marina. I know you've missed me since last week, and that's why I'm back with one of my favorite people in the entire universe. Just kidding, but not really. This is Randa Abadir. Hello, Randa.
Hey, how are you?
Randa, why do you sound like that?
I have bronchitis, so yeah.
Bismillah Salib.
Don't worry, we're a good distance away from each other.
If I get bronchitis for the next Marina Show, we all know why. Randa, I like your shirt.
Thank you. Do you know what it says?
No, tell me.
So it says un cuerpo en Cristo.
Un cuerpo en Cristo.
And it means one body in Christ. And it was our theme for my trip to Bolivia last week.
You just came back from Bolivia?
I did, on Friday.
Oh my goodness. Randa, we're so happy to have you back. I missed you the most.
Really?
Okay, so we can't whisper.
Okay.
People need to hear you.
Okay.
All right?
Let me get some water.
So let's talk about this trip. Please help yourself. Brought to you in part by CYC, Christian Youth Channel. Okay.
Yes, let's talk.
Let's talk. Let's get down to earth. Let's get down. Let's talk.
Cool.
Okay? I want to hear about your trip to Bolivia. I want to hear about the best parts. Yes. I want to hear about the parts that shook your world, the parts that made you cry, the parts that made you a different person, the parts that make your eyes kind of look away when I ask you about Bolivia.
Okay. So,
louder.
It began pretty much the first night. We got off the plane at 1 a.m. and we were really tired and we just wanted to get to the hotel and crash. And the moment we got out of the airport, there were maybe 200 people, children and their parents, just waiting for us with signs and flowers. Like, we couldn't believe it. We were like, what's the riot outside? Like, what's going on? Like, when we were approaching the gates, and then we realized it was for us. And they started calling our names one by one, giving us flowers and cards. And these children, people I've never met in my life, were hugging my leg, holding on to me. So that was like the first instance. And I felt...
How did you feel?
I felt guilty in a way because on the airplane on our way there, I was going through the things we'd brought because we'd taken a month and a half to fundraise and to prepare for the trip. And I was thinking, yeah, we brought these laptops, we brought T-shirts, and I was going through everything we've done. And I was like content. I was like, yeah, this is good. Like, we're going to do a good job. But the moment we got there, everything just stopped. I was like, we didn't do enough. There is nothing that can compare to this love. That this is no material, no money that we could have brought would buy like what we saw that night. I just went to the hotel and I was in tears, all of us. We couldn't believe it. We didn't know what to expect, and it completely like shattered all of our expectations.
Yeah. I remember that was one of my favorite nights in Bolivia too.
Yeah.
And you just start crying. It brings out a piece of your soul you didn't even know needed love. Exactly. Like Mother Teresa says, there's many human beings in the world that are hungry, but everybody is hungry for love. So, the love that they give you is just a way that you never knew you needed or wanted.
It's unreal. I've never known this love. I've never known this love.
She's never known this love.
I came back from the trip and I realized I'd fallen in love with these people, but it wasn't only the people. It was like I've fallen back in love with Christ, because in every single person he was there, and like I'd never experienced him like this ever in my life. It was unreal.
Okay, so I want to know how you, so this is at the end of the trip, you had fallen in love with the people and you had fallen in love with Christ, but we're just starting from day one.
Okay,
so day one, you walked in. Let's take it slow here, people, on the Marina Show, okay? So day one, you walked in there and you saw this love at the airport. They're receiving you with flowers. They're hugging your leg. They're people you don't even know. You get to the hotel. Then what happens?
And then the routine begins. Like, we have Mass every day at 8 a.m. So we go to the church every day and then we do our service. And then the second instance that got me was we went to this village. It's about an hour away from the church that they started outreaching to Sayyidina, the bishop, a few years ago, and it's literally in the middle of a forest, and they live in like huts, like wooden huts, and there's chickens everywhere, and there's stray dogs everywhere, and it was like poverty like I'd never imagined. And there were so many children. There was like 30 kids, and they're all like maybe 6 and under. Before we got there, there was they were standing in a circle and they were singing in Spanish. And the servants from the church in Bolivia, they were singing for the people in the village. And we were just watching, and then this old man stood up, and he was like one of the elders of the village, you can tell, because the moment he stood up, everyone went silent, like completely silent. And like in the middle of their song, he stood up and they stopped singing. And he just stood in the middle and he started singing. And he went on for like maybe like 8 minutes. Like he went on this really long song and we were all in tears because he had the most beautiful voice. And it was very haunting. Like it was, I'll never forget that man. Like his face is like in my heart forever. And I don't know what he was singing. I don't even know if it was a Christian song, but it was like peace. Like he had the peace of Christ. It was unreal.
So it's beyond any language.
It's beyond any language, nothing. We weren't worried about the language barrier because, to be honest, we only decided to go on the trip about a month and a half before. So not all of us practice Spanish. So
Spanish? Spanish?
Spanish. So we were nervous about that, but it wasn't much of an issue. Love is another language.
Love is another language.
We're all fluent in.
We are all fluent. That is so beautiful, Randa. Can you say that again, please? Can you actually look at the camera and say that?
Actually, the love of Christ is a language that we're all fluent in.
The love of Christ is a language that we are all fluent in. Yes. Okay, so that's the second instance.
Yes.
So tell me about the third, Randa.
The third, let's see, the third was the Mass. The Mass, oh gosh, okay, the Mass is done in Spanish and Coptic, and it is the most beautiful, like, oh my God, it was just completely insane. Like, everyone is so into it. The people there are so respectful of the church, like, they were like teaching us, like the Egyptians, the Copts, that we've been to church all our lives. And when they come in, like, they do the sign of the cross. All the women have their veils on. The children that are like 5 years old bow before they enter the altar. Like, no one is looking at the side. All the deacons are facing the altar. Their heads don't even turn. They know all of the hymns in Coptic, and they don't read Coptic. They have them memorized. And it was just the most beautiful Mass. And of course, the bishop there speaks Spanish, as well as the two priests, Father Hedra and Father Anthony. So it's a beautiful Mass.
It's a beautiful Mass. And while you catch your breath, I just want to make a comment about that. How beautiful it is that people who don't have the right and the privilege like we do to be born into the faith. These people, to them it's a gift, and so they value it. When you're given a gift, you use it. Yeah. And yet for someone like us, we feel this sense of entitlement, and you walk into the Western churches and people are staring away, people are full of the worries of this world. It's not that pure connection with God. So I feel through talking to you that throughout the trip you keep on seeing this beautiful side of humanity, and it keeps connecting you to humanity's creator. Would you say that's a fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
assumption?
I felt like they allowed me to see, I love our church, the Coptic churches in Canada. It's amazing, the ministry at our church, St. Mark's, but over there, I fell back in love with the church, like even more so. And like, I saw like the first time the Coptic church, but there was no Egyptians. It was like Bolivians. It's like, this is how it would be, you know? It was just so pure. It was amazing.
That sounds amazing.
It was great.
So tell me about more experiences. I saw that you have a lot of pictures with the children.
Yeah.
And everyone came back and told me, Randa has had the time of her life. Randa loves these children. I want to hear about these children.
There was, I love all of them. They're amazing kids. And you really get to know them. They all have distinct personalities, but these kids, we were there during their winter break, so they didn't have school.
Oh, perfect.
These kids were at church every day at like 8 a.m. Even if there's nothing happening, they're inside the church. They feel safe. The neighborhood where the church is, it's trash. Outside, there's trash everywhere. There's dirt everywhere. There's no paved roads. There's stray dogs. There's just like a bunch of cafes around that are empty. It's like very sad. And then you see the church and it's like a light in the neighborhood. Like if you weren't Coptic and you've never heard of the Coptic church, you'd want to go in and be like, what is this? What is this about? Like, what is this building? Even like we saw a few Catholic and Baptist churches there. They don't look like that. like the church is literally like a beacon in their area, and it's like, it's unreal. The kids go there, they just want to be at the church, they feel safe, and you wouldn't think, because they come, they dress nice and and everything, then you go and you visit their homes and you're like, are these the same children that come to church? Like this little boy that I totally fell in love with, adore him, Pedro. Pedro, beautiful, beautiful kid. And we went outreach to his house, and I wouldn't have even known this. This is 1 week I was like with him every day. His he doesn't even have any parents. Like his father is not in the picture, and his mom left to Spain to work and never came back, and like his aunt was raising him, and it was just like, I would never know. Like, he's just like the most beautiful child. He's so like full of love, and like this kid is always smiling, and like he has nothing, and it's sorry. It was insane. It was like the church is really something big for these kids.
Mm-hmm. And doesn't it remind you of the verse that is in the Old Testament, that even if your father and your mother abandon you, God is there?
Yes, exactly.
Because
and
right when you said that story, that's the first thing I thought.
That's what I was saying. And all the priests and Sayyidna there, it's like they've taken the role of father, and like they are the father to these, they are parents to these children, and it's like a dynamic like I've never seen before.
Here at the Marina Show, we laugh, we cry, we experience life, we experience Christ. So Randa, tell me, I like this idea of this paternal relationship
between the children.
Between the children. And I remember when I went to Bolivia, the first thing that struck me is the respect that they have for these bishops. It's not like I'm your father and you can treat me. They strike a matanya whenever they see the bishop.
Oh yeah.
They are down on their fists and their knees when they see these bishops. But the amount of love, it's exactly like when someone says, fear the Lord. I never understood this, fear the Lord.
It's awe, it's not fear. It's like, well, it's fear, but like it's complete awe, it's admiration,
love.
exactly.
It's a beautiful thing. It's not something that we're scared of.
There's absolutely none of that there. It's just like mutual respect, though. The way the priests and the bishops treat the children, it's unreal. It's like your child. Like, how would you treat your child, right?
I want you to tell me more about the kids.
The kids. Oh gosh.
Okay, but before you tell me about the kids, the truth is I want to hear more from you. So we're going to do another show with you, Randa.
Okay.
So sit tight. You're going to see Randa. Look at her beautiful face, glistening with tears. Tune back in next time for the Marina Show, and we're going to hear more about the beautiful Bolivia. Thank you, Randa, so much for coming, and we'll see you next time on the Marina Show.